I want to thank you for coming tonight, spending your evening with us. We hope that you will learn a lot about what we have to offer here with our new certificates. And we also want to make sure that any questions you have, whether they're about the certificates or the program, will be answered, by the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these. We're going to go into some detail, and then we'll certainly have a little bit of an overview of some of our admission processes. We're going to have an opportunity to speak to 2 students that actually completed these focus areas. We'll talk a little bit about them, and then we're going to open up the floor for questions and answers. But first, so again, my name is Christina Cook, if you did not know. I've worked with most of you, and it's great to see you here, whether you're, not on screen or you are on screen. I want to ask each of you what's happened in your life, because I feel like I know a little bit about you, but I will not. But again, my name is Christina, and I'm here with Rady. I am Associate Director of Admissions and Recruitment. I work primarily with the executive group. However, I've worked with the flex group, so I can answer all of your questions, regardless of the program that you're looking at. And the person who's going to be leading this presentation tonight, he is essentially my big boss. His name's John Massiana, and he joined us a couple of years ago. He was with UC Irvine, our competitor. And so it's wonderful to have him here, because we know exactly what they're doing, and we try to outsmart them, along the way. And he is in charge of all graduate programs at Rady, not just the MBA program, and not only the programs, but the marketing and making sure that we are pushing the envelope, and we are kind of pushing that curve and try to get ahead of all the other programs and make sure that we're preparing you for what we consider the new economy, which is the innovation economy. And we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And I'm going to let John take over and continue along with his, talk a little bit about himself and tell you about what he's planning to do here at Rady.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Christina. And you all didn't see me fix the slide. Can't believe I had an error on the slide there, but you didn't see that. But it's great to have you all here this evening. Thanks for spending a few minutes out from your day to talk about certificates. This was a big topic for us. And Christina and I were just sharing before the session. We're like, wow, these certificates are very popular right now for our students. And it's, no surprise. And it's really fun for me. I've been in higher education, particularly with business schools. As Christina said, I was at up the road, UC Irvine for 15 years or so in various leadership roles there. And I can absolutely say that things are definitely changing in the MBA space. Similar to Christina, I have spent the most amount of my time with MBA students, particularly part-time and executive MBA students. I love that population. I was one myself. So for all of you who are entering the MBA, whether you're full-time, flex evening, or executive MBA, hats off to you. You are in for a great ride. And I know particularly, and I know Christina does as well, the challenges that you have in pursuing your MBA, going part-time if you're doing flex evening or executive MBA. And we want to make sure that you know that you are going to get all the resources as well as the experience as if you were a full-time student. And same goes for our full-time students. And I know several of you are pursuing that program here on the call as well, but we want to make sure it's a transformative experience for you. We're really not going to cover too much about the program. You're going to learn all about it at orientation. I know Christina already mentioned this. I think I looked at the registration list. We do have most of the people coming, I think, are at least in the application process. Some of you have already gotten your decision. Some of you have just started the application process, but we also may have a few candidates that this is their first session at Rady to learn something about the Rady School of Management. So, but we are really going to focus on these certificates. It has been a labor of love this year. I'm very excited that we have 2 students with us, Chris Yoon and James Ariola are here on the call to describe, and we're going to, have a brief panel discussion with them about why they decided to pursue those certificates. These are very new. So they literally just graduated and have these certificates now. So I really do want to delve into why they decided to pursue them, but we'll go over that and the opportunities that you will have here at the Rady School of Management as well. So I'm just going to cover literally just one slide here on the program for any of you that are not familiar with our programs. We know most of you are familiar with Rady. We have 3 MBA programs. Full-time MBA is just what you think it is, 2-year traditional full-time MBA where you leave your job and you fully immerse yourself in the MBA and then work with our Career Management Center heavily in order to get a post-graduate, post-MBA job with them. And it's 21 months, very immersive experience, about 5 years experience coming in. We have an amazing class coming in. It's about 40 students coming in from our full-time MBA, about 60% domestic, 40% international. They're just amazing. And similarly, for our Flex Evening and Executive MBA, we have outstanding classes coming in. Thank you to Christina and Sophia for all your work to bring in some great students in those two cohorts as well. The Flex Evening and Executive MBA are part-time, so we actually just reduced the units, so it's now 80 credits instead of 92, which allows you to graduate a little bit faster. And yes, it can pursue certificates, which is the focus of what the evening is this evening. But we'll go through those. But essentially, Flex Evening is evening classes. You take your core classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And for Executive MBA, it's a new format starting this fall. I've really taxed the team here at Rady. We've made a lot of changes, but we're going to do a hybrid format, which is basically now 3 weekends per month. So you're coming 3 weekends, 3 weekends per quarter. I'm sorry, 3 weekends per quarter, not 3 weekends per month. You're coming once per month to the campus, and then the remainder of the program is asynchronous online. It's a great format. We're working really hard on it, and it's really just the cohort here is based on your experience. So and of course your scheduling preference. So Flex Evening is 2 nights per week, Executive MBA once per month, but it's the same degree. You're getting an MBA from the Rady School of Management, and we are excited to have all of you here. And also a couple of recent rankings up there at the top. We're really excited that our U.S. News and World Report ranking this year went up 29 points up in the nation. So we're excited to be moving up there. We're the youngest school to be ranked in the U.S. News and World Report. We're just 21 years old now, but moving very quickly, and we're headed for the top 50 in the next couple of years. So we're excited about all the growth here at the Rady School. So let's talk about these certificates. So I'd like to just start here with you are coming to Rady to get your MBA, and I have my MBA as well. By the way, I think I didn't mention this, but this is my home school. So I went to UC San Diego a long time ago, so I know our Tritons very well. I attribute my entire career to my education from UCSD. I'm very passionate about UCSD. I did spend a lot of time at UC Irvine. I got my MBA from UCI and love I mean, the MBA is a fantastic degree. I would not be where I am now without the MBA or my degree from UC San Diego. But these certificates are a way for you to really specialize. And what I like to say about the MBA is it's a very general management degree. You can go a lot of different places with your MBA, and that's really probably why a lot of you chose the MBA, is that you have a career path that may be outside of what you're doing right now. Maybe, for example, you're an engineer and you want to move into finance, and you see the MBA as a really strong way to pivot into a completely different function or a completely different industry. And you're absolutely right. That's exactly what the MBA is going to do for you. You can go from a completely different discipline or function or industry and move into something else with your MBA. And you really get, with the MBA core curriculum, a broad overview, a general management overview. You're going to take a class in every single department in your organization. Say you work for a large company like Illumina or something like that. You've got finance department, you've got marketing. You're going to go through all the areas of your organization. And you're also going to get strategy. You're going to get operations. You're going to get all the fundamentals of business. And when you get to your electives, that is your opportunity to take a deep dive if you want to. So you're pretty dangerous in every meeting that you go to now. So even if you don't have a marketing background, if you're in a meeting with the marketing folks and you've taken the marketing core class, you're a little bit more dangerous than you were before you started your MBA, because you know quite a bit more about marketing, and you can hold your own in some of those meetings. The certificates are really a way to signal to employers, to yourself, to help you gain the confidence to really take a deep dive, say, into something that you want to move into. So that example I gave, if you're an engineer, you want to move into finance, yes, we would recommend that you do the MBA certificate in finance, because it really is a signal to employers that you are credentialed in something. You've taken a deep dive, you've gotten your MBA, but in addition to that, you've gotten a certification that shows employers you mean business when it comes to that particular area. So just a couple of points of why you would want to pursue a certificate. It, of course, is, it's great for the employability side of it. Job opportunities can open up for you. Great for networking and professional development as well. You're going to connect with anybody who's pursuing a certificate in that area. You're going to connect with like-minded professionals. Let's say you're a full-time student or a flex evening student. You're able to take electives with other cohorts. So you might want to take an elective with the executive MBA cohort, and they may have more experience than you. And you might be able to get some mentorship from other students in those cohorts. If you're taking, say, finance electives or marketing electives with that cohort, you're going to be able to really gain some mentorship, guidance, and support from senior professionals within that area through this certificate process. Then finally, just competitive advantage and differentiation. The MBA is going to help you go far in your career, but as we all know, it is a very tough job market out there, and it's actually a pretty decent job market this year. But 2 years from now, who knows? Who knows where things are going to be? A certificate, and certainly your MBA, is going to help you really kind of stand out in the marketplace. So let's just spend a few minutes going over these new certificates. And we have two new ones, and they've been very popular. This one is the first one, and this one actually was proposed by a faculty member. It was actually not proposed by our students. The second one was. Faculty member came to us and said, I'd really like to offer a certificate in design and innovation. And we went, that's interesting. Tell us more about it. We were intrigued on the administration side, and we approved it, and our students were very interested. And this is really the audience for this is MBA students who really want to pursue product management. So if you're interested in designing new products and services, bringing them to market, this certificate is for you. It really helps you to build teams and lead teams on new product design and innovation. And then he basically said this certificate is for students who want to pursue a career path that leads to a chief product officer role, a CIO, a CTO, or of course, a CEO. And it's very interdisciplinary. Unlike our other certificates, which are very functional and focused, this one is very interdisciplinary. So you can take classes across a wide range of disciplines. I don't even know how many, I mean, we can give you the full length of electives that are available, but it's about, I think, 25 or so different electives apply for this certificate. And the reason for that is that the professor who developed this really wants you to have a firm understanding of how new products come to market and are successful. You can probably guess by this that many of our students who are planning to pursue this certificate are entrepreneurs. So, and that is absolutely fine. There is a very heavy entrepreneurship leaning with this certificate. So if you are pursuing that entrepreneurship path, this certificate may be something that you want to pursue. And it has different course themes. So you basically take about 5 or 6 electives, 20 units, and you can take electives within these 4 areas, which are understanding users. We have a lot of electives in that, customer analytics, consumer behaviors, leading creative teams. There's quite a few electives on leading creative teams, exploring design practice. Now, this is something interesting. My major here at UCSD was cognitive science. So this professor is actually allowing you to take cognitive science design classes. And so we have basically approved you to take classes outside of Rady for this certificate, and they will count towards your MBA. And that's, by the way, as a benefit here at Rady, is that we have strong partnerships with a lot of different schools. If you are so interested in taking classes that outside of Rady at other schools at UCSD, you can basically put in a request with your advisor. It comes to me. And generally speaking, if it's related to your career path, we'll approve it. So as long as the other department or the school will allow you in, and it's career related, we'll allow it. So any classes that are outside of Rady that are included in this certificate are automatically applied towards your degree as well as your MBA. And then there's also industry specifics for this certificate as well. So understanding the basics of your particular industry, whether it's tech, biotech, we have social enterprise, and a couple of CPG classes as well. So very interdisciplinary. It was very popular. Again, it was proposed by a faculty member, and we thought it was interesting, and our students did as well. And then the other one here is an MBA certificate in finance. This was solely 100% demanded by our students. Our students came to us and said, you guys, really, you need an MBA certificate in finance. And it took me a while to get this routed through our faculty, but finally we got our faculty on board, and they put this together for our students, and it's been extremely popular. But essentially, you've got 2 required classes. All of our certificates are basically structured a similar way. There are certain core classes that you take for this certificate. They're all electives, but they're required for the certificate. And then you can take a smattering of classes that are available for the certificate as well. We have a Master of Quantitative Finance program as well. It's a 1-year master's program. All of the Masters of Finance electives, if it fits in within your schedule, if you want to take a Masters of Finance elective, all of them will apply for this certificate in finance. So they offer very, very deep finance electives in that program. But if you qualify for those deep finance electives, you have to take the prerequisites. You can certainly take any of them, and they'll all apply for this certificate. Similarly, 5 courses, 20 units, and then we have some sample courses available, and we're adding new classes all the time in the finance area. But very popular. This was 100% in demand by our students. And I found this recently, Christina, just a few days ago, actually, the GMAC, the Graduate Management Admissions Council, puts out some great research. And they just published a corporate recruiters survey, 2024 corporate recruiters survey, and it's available. I'd be happy to send it to you. It's on their website. And they survey prospective students who are pursuing their MBA or graduate master's degree. They survey current students, they survey alumni, and importantly, they survey recruiters who hire MBA students. And this was from a recent survey they did of 930 corporate recruiters who hire MBA students. 51% of those 931 were Fortune 500 companies. And I just decided to pull this one up. I was looking through the results, and this was interesting to note that the top 3 future skills by industry, and they just gave a snapshot here: consulting, finance, healthcare, technology, products and services. But 2 of them are related to our certificates. The finance one, it was interesting that their top 3 future skills are adaptability, strategic thinking, and technology, IT skills. And then for products and services, because we have our design and innovation certificate that is focused on products and services, strategic thinking, problem solving, and skills in using AI tools are the top 3 future skills that employers are looking for. So just keep that in mind if you are pursuing one of those new certificates, that these are the skills that employers are looking for MBA students in the future. And then lastly, I just wanted to share this MBA hiring plans by industry. This is also from the same report, which I'm happy to share with you. This is good news overall. This is good news that employers who, for the most part, are planning to hire at or at the same level of MBAs this year as they were last year. So global average, it looks like 36% are planning to hire more MBAs than last year, 43% same as last year, and then 21% plan to hire less or do not plan to hire in 2024, and then the breakdown per industry there. And I did happen to note something interesting. We're all seeing changes with AI, but employers said that the importance of artificial intelligence is 22nd in the current skill sets they're looking for, but moving up to 6th in the future skill set. So it's not quite in that top 5 yet, but we do see that employers are looking for AI skills in the future, and Rady is ready for you. We're integrating a lot of AI skills. We have dedicated AI electives in the curriculum, and many of our MBA faculty require ChatGPT Plus in the classroom. So you will get plenty of exposure to AI in the curriculum here, and certainly in the master's programs if you take some of those electives. But just wanted to share some very recent data that the Graduate Management Admissions Council shared with us. I didn't want to ignore our other 2 certificates. They've been around for a while, but just to let you know that we do have 2 other certificates here. We have a certificate in supply chain, again, 5 courses total, and then an MBA certificate in marketing. Both of them are very popular. We have asked, Christina, we've asked our MBA students recently, and the question is not whether students are pursuing a certificate. We've actually heard from many of our MBA students that they want to pursue 2 certificates. You can definitely do that. We think that's a little crazy, but you could certainly do that, and you can work with your advisor if you're planning to pursue 1 or 2, and they can help map out your schedule if you want to pursue 1 or 2. I mean, we definitely, if it makes sense for you to do 2, and it makes sense for your career-wise, then we encourage it. But we really only encourage you to do 2 if it really is going to help you. It's definitely a heavy load to do that, but you can certainly do it if you want to. So with that, I just wanted to highlight a few other things that we've made. We made a lot of changes this year, so I wanted to bring up our panelists here, James and Chris, in a moment here, but a couple of other things that we have added into the curriculum. I already mentioned the hybrid format, which we're very excited about for our executive MBA. So it's just one time you're coming to campus per month, and then asynchronous online. So basically 9 weekends per year. We have a brand new capstone that's available that is required for our MBA students. It's Rady Action Projects. There's 2 different tracks. You get to choose whether you do the consulting track. As a flex student, you can choose consulting or entrepreneurship track. And then we are excited to go back to international immersions. We've introduced 3 new ones this year. This is the first time since COVID. We're going back out on international class. They're 4-unit elective classes. Several of our MBA students got, and this is just for MBA, by the way, I should have put that on here. It's just for MBA. We did Vietnam on spring break. Right now, our MBA students are in Mexico City. So our students literally are there right now. They're wrapping up the immersion. They're coming back over the weekend. And then in December, we're heading out to Costa Rica. So we're planning to do about 3 per year. We do allow our MBA students to do more than 1, and you'll find out more about the immersions and the schedule at orientation. And then I already mentioned, we've got a lot of AI integrated curriculum. New elective classes are being added. quite frequently in this space. We've got 2 flagship classes that we highly recommend. Digital disruption and digital transformation are very AI focused, and they help you explore how to use AI to transform the business model. And then we're reintroducing an MBA executive speaker series. We've got a great one coming up in October 30th. We have a speaker coming who designed shoes for lots of celebrities, including Taylor Swift and Beyonce. So he's coming on October 30th. Mark your calendars, Christina, because that will be a great, great executive speaker series event. So with that, we really would love to turn it over to our students. We have James. I hope James is here. I think I saw him getting in there. So James Ariola is, oh, you're here. Great, James. James is a senior FP&A analyst at Power Engineers. And Chris, I see Chris right there, is product specialist at Cubic Transportation. They both recently graduated in the Flex Evening MBA 24 class. So just recently received their certificates. We know, we understand you probably haven't been able to apply your certificates all that much yet, but look forward to hearing a little bit more about you. Could you go ahead and just introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your career path and how you came to Rady? And then I have a couple of questions, and then we'll turn it over to the group here. So we'll start off with James. James, you there? See him there.
Notice this whole band right here, this all got lines. So the plastic piece that's here, that little this plastic piece
don't hear
all the way through.
James. I see him there, but I don't hear James. Well, let's see if we can
Sounds
get
like
James.
someone might need to mute their microphone.
Yeah.
Hard to tell if that's James or someone just talking to them.
Yeah. Well, Chris, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, and hopefully we'll get James here in a second.
Yeah. Do you guys hear me?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Chris Yoon. I work in the Cubic Transportation. Cubic is right there at the Balboa in San Diego. Their headquarters here. They're making a fare collection devices for the public transportations. They are building it devices as well as the managing the cloud service. When you go to the New York, Chicago, LA, Boston's, Vancouver, Sydney, London, UK, you'll see our devices placed at the public transportation, subway, buses. We are a very product-focused company. I'm a product device team member. Also, just promoted to the device team lead for the product team inside. I realized that I was focused on the product side, and they recently launched this design and innovation certifications, and I looked over the curriculum and saw like this is what I did, and then I applied. So I realized that UCSD is fine working in proper way. So this MBA course is definitely beneficial, and interesting enough that our VP, one of our VP, is board member of UCSD, Matt Newsom. He came to me and said, "Oh, you got your MBA degree." And he asked me the same question that I got from the very beginning of the moment that I joined the MBA classes. Why do you want to go to the MBA courses? What do you want to achieve from the MBA classes? What do you want to be after you finish the MBA classes and get the degree? And these questions will come to you every single time you're coming to the career path or any job interviews. It's very important to know that what you're experiencing in the MBA classes is going to be end-to-end rather than just piece of the product life cycles. So I wanted to learn about this end-to-end process, all the way from very beginning of this products, innovation thinking, startup, you are proposing the product, making a prototype, how to get your experiment in the firm, outside of the firm, and how do you apply, how do you measure in financial perspective, and how are you going to propose to this internal company members or external members. When you're in the company and you're working for the company, you don't get to see this entire process. And when you come to the school, you get to experience, but minimal, but then you get to experience from the end to end level. So that is one of the big beneficial that I've learned. When I proceed the MBA programs, I wanted to focus on that product perspective, like the life cycle on this. And then I've gone through those classes, for example, innovation product and program management, experiments in firm, digital disruptions. I highly recommend it, by the way, digital disruptions. Blockchain technology, project management. By the way, the blockchain is not blockchain. It's all about the supply chain. So when you take those courses, you get to have those assignments that you're going to propose some of the product or ask you to make a presentation for the innovative process to the certain company or to audience. You get to have your idea pitch. You get to pick your whatever the idea that you want. You get to have presentations. This is the path that if you want that kind of path that you want to be, then this course will give you some sense of knowledge after the MBA programs.
That's great insight, Chris. And yeah, I mean, you really summarized it very, very well. That Rady really provides you with end to end, you know, from beginning to end of developing and then ultimately bringing that product to market.
Yeah.
It sounds like we introduced that certificate at the right time for you.
Yeah, that's right. Right before I graduated, something
Before you
came up,
graduated.
and then
You had already taken the right steps, but we just formalized it for you, basically. So that is great. Well, I just saw that James is back. James, are you
I
on?
am back.
Oh, good.
I
Okay, great.
apologize. I was trying to turn on my video and that froze Zoom. So,
We've all been there.
all right. My name is James Ariola. I'm a senior FP&A analyst at this company called Power Engineers. And for a lot of people, FP&A is not going to mean anything. It's a financial planning and analysis analyst. And what area lead means, I'm a manager. I oversee a team, and what we're doing is we're pulling together the budgets, projections, and doing financial analysis on 8 different divisions within Power Engineers. Power Engineers is a 4,000 person strong engineering firm. And I'm personally tasked with overseeing power delivery, which is like power lines, making sure that we're able to get the campus energized and do stuff. And I really loved Rady. I focused heavily on the finance certificate. I was one of the individuals that was very displeased when I found out at first there wasn't a finance certificate. So I joined up with some others and we did something about it. And now there's one there for everyone to enjoy. So I think I'm in one of the first cohorts that got the finance certificate, and it was great. It was really, really cool to see exactly how much they listened and cared about our needs and what we needed out of Rady, and they went ahead and helped us. Back when I was doing my capstone, they actually worked with me to find a company similar to what I work in so that I'd be able to do some consulting with that company. And so we worked with a solar company called Paired Power, and we basically helped them come up with their finance models, coming up with their pricing, and helping them come up with a pitch deck. So it was really, really cool to be able to take what I do from 8 to 5 and apply it from, I wish I could say 5 to 8, but it's actually 6 to 9:30. That's the time I was going to class. But the reason why I got the certification in finance, or the certificate in finance, is I want to be a CFO. And the very best way I can do that is by cutting myself away from the competition. And the certificate from UCSD, specifically Rady, is one of those things that will make that big difference. I could have gone for a CPA, I could have gone for a master's in professional accounting, but I want to be more than just a controller at my company. I eventually want to be CFO. So that's why I went with the MBA.
Great. Well, James, thank you and your cohort for paying it forward for future cohorts. As you said, the finance and certificate was really put in place, because you and your cohort were very loud in your demand for that, and our faculty did respond. And so we were happy to see that happen, and then retroactively be able to give you and your cohort that certificate. So, but again, thank you for pushing that for us, and we're definitely pleased that we have it now, and now future cohorts can benefit from it. But I'd love to ask you both. I want to turn it over if you all have any questions for James or Chris. Would love to know from you both. What did you get out of your courses? And maybe you want to talk about the certificate course you took, or even other courses you took here at Rady. What certain courses did you what did you get out of certain courses that you were able to apply? You're both coming to Rady while progressing in your career. Did you have any experiences during your MBA where you were actually a bit more dangerous? You were actually applying what you learned, or Chris, I believe you had said that you got promoted as well. I mean, were you able to leverage your degree while you were pursuing it? And did you see some outcomes while you went through the program?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know how many times I propose internally to the company, and also I use my my study group to propose my idea, push forward, which I can directly use to my company's proposal again. Um, yes, I proposed several products or innovative thoughts to my study group or the classrooms that I took, and I got some of the skeleton structures done within the study group, and I got additional help from the outside, and then apply to the internal proposal, product proposal, business proposal, and then I think I got one of the device got market launched, and that was a big hit in our side. Not only that, but then just because I tried 4 or 5 times internally, which nobody really does 4 or 5 times a year. So they kind of get the sense that Chris Yoon is an innovative person, an innovative thinker, and they're always dragging me into this new product proposal idea meetings nowadays. So it's kind of getting me into that stage where I can jump into the next job positions.
Great. Great. Thank you, Chris. How about you, James? What were you able to apply?
Well, let's see. So I started, so when I first started at Rady, I was inside the project management field at a different company. I was at a company called Stantec. I was doing project management, and I knew my passion was finance. So I was able to use coming to Rady in multiple ways. First, I was able to negotiate a very nice salary bump. I basically negotiated in my post-MBA salary on the onset. So my company was very nice with providing that. If you are going to the part-time, make sure that you reach out to your companies about tuition reimbursement, about any programs that may exist. I believe the IRS tax limits are $5,250 tax-free that the company can write off. They're very generous. They love doing that. It's a good thing to do. But I wanted to move into finance, and what helped me out a lot was the MBA. They opened the door for me to come into finance, and now I'm one of the senior managers within finance. And I took a few classes. One was called Mergers and Acquisitions. That's one of the requirements for the, no, that is not one of the requirements for the certification, but it is a elective that you can take for the certificate. And I was learning how to value privately held companies during a merger and acquisition. Well, it just so happened at my firm, we started doing some M&A work. We acquired a 15-person engineering company, and I actually got to lead on that project, coming up with part of the valuation based on my coursework. So it's directly applicable.
Yeah, that's great. That it sounds like you pivoted completely during your MBA, which is always what we love to see, is that you're able to grow and develop and maybe even pivot into a new role during your MBA, and you even negotiate an MBA level salary. Congratulations.
I do want to add one more thing. I highly recommend everyone takes the negotiations course within the MBA, because one of the first negotiations you will do in this negotiations course is a salary negotiation. which is very, very helpful and very pertinent to everyone who's going through the MBA right now.
Yeah,
That is
that
one of
one
the
that
most
one's
popular.
good.
Yep.
I also recommend to take the digital disruptions. So I think we saw 6 guests out of 10 weeks. 6 guests came into the class, talk about the same topic, and you're going to read and then learn about those topics that he's going to talk about. So we had a 6 guests out of 10 weeks. That was a very good class. And to learn about real life applications, and then see some of the times the CEO comes to the class and talk about what they did. So it's very helpful to understand how the world evolves quickly.
Yes, that class that you're referring to, Chris, the digital disruption class is so popular that we asked Talis to create a part 2. So he's introducing a part 2 to that class. Feel free to come back and audit it. So we know it was so popular, we just decided to have him do that second part. So it's digital disruption. Now we're adding digital transformation. So
You don't
please
have time to
audit
raise
it.
your hands and ask a question at that class.
Yeah, it's a great class. It is really a
Yeah.
great class. Well, I want to make sure that we have time for questions from the group here, but just wanted to close things out with you both. If you could provide some advice to our prospective students, applicants, and also there are several on here that have already been admitted to Rady. What advice would you give to folks coming in?
I mean, be bold, be brave. Don't be scared to ask for the world, especially when it comes to negotiating or when it comes to asking for what your company can do to help. I thought that my company would be very, very strict with what they were willing to offer, but they're investing in you. If you're at a company and you're doing this in the part-time, they're going to be investing in you. They'll let you take courses during work hours. They'll let you study for stuff during work hours. They'll give you access to company materials so you can do that on your MBA projects and build it around things that are directly applicable to you. Everyone wants your success, and everyone's here to help you.
I also highly recommend you to take some of the executive classes as well. I was in the evening classes, and most of them were working full-time students. But at the same time, when you take the executive classes, which is on Saturday, Sunday, of course you're going to sacrifice your Saturday, Sunday, but you get to meet those senior peoples who has more work experience than you. Then you get to have more relationship with them by having a project together and having more conversation with them together. So don't worry about those flex evening, like a full-time or like an executive MBA. Just take some of those Saturday, Sunday classes those classes will have more senior people than you. So you get to enjoy more conversation with them.
Great advice. Great advice from you both. Well, I really appreciate you both being here, Chris and James, and we do have some time. If the attendees, if you want to ask a question, feel free to unmute. And we'll have some. Christina, do you want to cover admissions very briefly here, and then we'll just open it up for any questions?
I can do that. I don't know if I don't know if there are people in the audience that want to hear this information. But I will certainly go through it briefly. Just to note, we are still accepting applications for the Flex Evening and the Executive Program. Online application, relatively, you've seen these before. Demographic information. We have some short answer questions. And obviously we ask you to upload your transcripts, resume, essays, but it's all doable. The transcripts do not need to be official at this point. If you are admitted and decide to come, we will need to see those officials, but unofficials are great. Letters of recommendation, these are basically references in the application. You can submit those individuals who are going to assist you, give their contact information, they will receive an email, and then they follow that link that is sent in the email and they will answer direct questions about you. So when you ask them to help you out, let them know it is not a super big time commitment where they're going to sit down behind their computer for 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon. It is not like that. And I know it's difficult to ask people to hurry when they do you a favor. So it's always good to give them sort of a framework in which the time period is going to be be needed. GRE or GMAT is optional. Given that most of our students in these programs have experience, we are really most interested in that. So if you're trying to overcome a deficit in your application, and we'll certainly help you with that, it might be a good idea, but for the most part, I would say avoid it. I've been there, not a good time. And then if you are an international student and have just received a degree from another institution outside of the United States, we may ask for a English language test, but we can certainly speak to you about that separately. Next slide. I'll move through this. These are our last deadlines. So the official deadline is July 15th, but we are still going to work with you through the 15th of August. If you need more assistance getting your, some of this information in, or if your friend, for example, your references are still out there. Moving on to the next slide. Financing options. This is a big question for everybody. We are not, we are not the cheapest MBA in the world. You definitely get what you pay for, however. And so what we offer, as many students as we can is what's called a Rady merit-based fellowship. And we will review every application and consider that person for this fellowship. There's nothing you need to do. No, there's not a separate application. Within the application, we do also have donor-supported fellowships. These are some of the funds that would be awarded as part of the Rady. Sometimes they come from donor select groups. I can speak to you more about that. If you feel you're qualified for one of these donor select, please say a few words about yourself in your application. We also offer an additional $10,000 for any UC grad. Just flat off the top, it doesn't matter what your major is. It just comes right on, on top of any award we'd offer you. As James was talking about support for supporting you in your endeavors, sometimes employers will have an educational benefit as well. I highly encourage you to ask about that. And then, of course, federal student loans are an option for many. And a lot of times the students will kind of package together some of their personal finance, student loan, and a fellowship and or support from their organization to pay for this degree. There's the federal student loans, and there's also private student loans. We're happy to help you with that if you have questions. And that's it. So I know most people are probably more interested in asking James and Chris questions, but thanks for listening.
Yes, we did. Thank you, Christina.
did
Yeah,
get
we
a
do have
question.
some questions. Yes, from Abraham. For either Chris or James, do you find yourself now still in contact with your cohort, collaborating or cross-referencing ideas? You just graduated, so.
Yes,
Chris,
we are.
I'll let you talk on this one, Chris.
Yes, we are. We have a WhatsApp going on every other hour.
Oh, of course. That's great. It's a great way to keep in touch. We're good.
And it's
Well, good.
not
Well,
just cross-referencing ideas. We also, it's a social group. It becomes a new friend group. When we first started, they told us the people you're going to meet are going to be, you can meet your best friend, or you're a groomsman or a bridesmaid. I did meet a groomsman in the program, so it's true.
We always love to hear those stories. Great. Well, if you have any other questions, feel free to unmute or send it via chat. But we really appreciate all of your time today for coming out and learning more about the certificates. We're also happy to answer any questions that you have about the certificates or anything else about the MBA or Rady or what's happening. Thank you very much, James and Chris. Congrats to you both on graduating and also already achieving quite a bit of success with your MBA while you went through the program. So you both had some great insights. We really appreciate you spending your time this evening with us. And I know that you just received your certificates, but our hope is that you really get a huge amount of value out of them throughout the lifespan of your career. And again, James, thank you and your cohort for pushing us forward with that finance certificate.
I want to say one thing, and I know it just occurred to me. I'm sorry about that. It's been a long week, but the fact that we had a Rady professor approach us to offer something that is brand new, that really hasn't certainly not been done at our institution, and we are pretty forward motion kind of program. I haven't seen it anywhere. And the fact that we had someone proactively approach us to offer this, I think that speaks volumes about the type of faculty we have here. And I really don't go into a lot of detail about things like this, but I think it's worth noting that we do have amazing faculty. And when you do look at that price tag of our program, this is what you're paying for. They are amazing. They care about our students, and they really want to make a difference in your life. So those are my final words. I want to thank you all for coming. Certainly I will hang out a little bit longer too, if anyone has any questions.
Well, too, it sounds like we've got some more questions, but yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
point, Christina. Rady is so focused on the student experience that and on the administration side. If a faculty member has a great idea, we're happy to engage with them. And, you know, our faculty are happy to support really good ideas. We agreed, Chris, a certificate in design innovation is a really good idea. So, and we were so happy that we had students like you who had already met the requirements, even though we had just announced it 2 months ago. So.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got some questions.
Yeah, I've answered a couple.
Okay.
Certainly the program, anything that we're talking about here applies to the full-time program as well.
Oh, yeah.
All certificates are open to any MBA.
They are.
Gosh, let's see. So we have a couple, it looks like some folks you're signaling off. Monse, if you have a quick question, how long is the certification? You know, I can't really answer that. Maybe one of our students can, but really it's a matter of how long it takes you to complete those courses.
Right.
And that would be dependent upon when those courses are offered. So Chris, since you completed this, or either James, can you answer that question?
It took a year. You can do 1 to 2 courses in each one per quarter reasonably. I did some weird stuff and I took like a business law class that was full-time students only, and I took an accounting class that was full-time only. So I could have done it in 3 quarters, but there's always going to be something that applies. And even if it doesn't, the teachers will, or the professors will work with you to find something that makes sense. Spreadsheet modeling was one that they allowed for my finance, which makes sense because all you do in finance is spreadsheets.
Yeah.
About 3 quarters, about 1 year. Yeah. They are very flexible about some of the requirements. So if you think this is the right certifications that fits to the class, then you can certainly send an email about the curriculums that you learned or you're going to learn, then they'll let you know.
All right. Well, if folks don't have any more questions, feel free to, cycle off, enjoy the rest of your evening. Summer, it seems like you have about 5 or 6 more hours of daylight. So go and enjoy it, take a hike, go do something, go surfing.
Yeah, we had a couple more questions here
Oh,
to
yeah.
talk about how fellowships cover the number of credits. I can take that one. The fellowships basically kind of cover, we basically offer, as Christina said, we have a variety of different fellowships. So essentially, if you're awarded a fellowship, it's basically awarded depending on the amount. It's divided equally over the quarters of the program. So it's not to say that it covers a certain number of credits, but they range anywhere from say $5,000 to $25,000 in terms of the amount. But it's basically divided equally over the quarters of the program, essentially. How long does it take to complete if taking the full-time program? I think we already answered that, but it really just depends on the classes that you're taking and when they're offered.
I think they meant the full-time program period as opposed to the certificate.
Oh,
21 months.
thanks.
21 months.
Yeah. The professional programs, they attend classes all year round, so it's basically 4 quarters. The full-time students typically will work in an internship position during the summer. So that summer quarter, they typically are not taking classes. So it still is 21 months, but it's a little bit more compact, more classes per quarter.
Yep, because you're not working.
Yep. Oh. Are there business law certifications on the horizon? Well, I'm gonna let John answer that one.
Not at this time, because we really only have it's a very popular course, Abraham, business law. But no, it's we would have to add more related courses, and a lot of these certificates are really based on demand from students. So I'm sure that business law is included in one of the certificates, but I don't think we're going to be moving towards a business law one. We may be moving towards a healthcare specialist or a certificate in the near future.
Yeah, I guess if you really wanted to go the business law,
Yeah.
we do not have a law school, but there is
Do
a law
not.
school somewhere in San Diego. But you know, there are classes depending on industry, like this, you know, there's an entire class on regulations, in terms of, and that typically is interesting for those in the healthcare or the biotech space, but obviously that is much, you know, involves a lot of law and a lot of government and, you know, that sort of thing. You could probably cobble something together, but there's not a certificate.
Yeah, and the business law course, it was a seminar type course, a survey of all kinds of different stuff. So it wasn't anything too in depth. It was a wide breadth of a lot of issues. And every class and it started and ended with the warning that if you think you need to apply any of this, talk to your company's legal.
Oh, wow.
Just because yeah,
Oh.
not legal advice.
Thanks, James. We find another question about when does our application start? For those of you that are not quite ready to jump off this year, we will be opening the application, all of our MBA applications for the fall of 2025 start in ideally mid to late August. So there's not a whole lot of downtime here.
We like your cat, Damon. Very nice cat. That's a good question about the healthcare certificate.
It is.
We just don't have enough healthcare classes right now to offer a full-fledged certificate, but we've got really good ones. So I think it's probably within the next year we'll be able to do it, but I would highly recommend that you take the classes that we have in the healthcare space. Right now, they're really, really good. In particular, we've got Magnus Felke, who's an outstanding professor. He teaches 2 of the healthcare classes that we've got. One of them is in Flex Evening, and then one of them is in Executive MBA, Managing Healthcare and Life Sciences. It's a great class. But yeah, that's it's coming pretty soon. We just need more variety, but we've got the ones that we do have, take them.
Yeah, and Andrew, that is actually the class that I'm working with you.
The managing healthcare and life science, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yep, it's a great one.
Yeah. Professor Magnus.
Mhm.
Oh,
The best.
you get to
Great.
visit the BD office.
Yeah, he's senior director at BD.
Yeah.
Really nice guy.
There are several healthcare classes. I only took 2 classes, but I think they have total 3 or 4 healthcare related topics.
These are great questions. Well, you know, if you all have other things that you need to get to, feel free to log off, but we're happy to stick around if you have any other questions. But thanks for taking some time out this evening, and we look forward to engaging with you more. So if you have any other questions for us, feel free to reach out, email. You can schedule an appointment with Christina. But we look forward to interacting with you. And for those of you that have been admitted, we look forward to seeing you at orientation. And there's several events coming up for all of our admitted students. Thanks for coming tonight.
I like to talk with mutes on because I want to see what it looks like when I'm talking. I just put in a slide, a picture, you know, basically a snapshot of a slide of a presentation. It does show you some of the healthcare classes that were, you know, healthcare or biotech related classes, just to give you an idea of what's out there. And you can also see how some of these other classes that may not have healthcare in the name are certainly applicable, and how you could, you know, you could create your own focus area. I mean, that's what these essentially are. I mean, you know, when the MBAs were created, they didn't have focus areas. People took the classes they wanted that they felt would help them in their career. So.
There's a question from
There's a blockchain technology which is related to the healthcare.
Yeah, we think we just had a speaker come in and talk about blockchain in relation to biotech as part of the Sullivan program. So there's a lot of activity in that space. You know, there are probably workshops. Things may not be a formal class, but you certainly can be exposed to just about anything you'd like if you if you, you know, keep your ears open and ask questions.
Question from Bruce Bay about additional fellowships that are available. The ones that
Right.
I'm most familiar with, there's usually fellowships that are awarded, as Christina mentioned, from on the merit side from our donors as well. But after admission, it's really moving towards the program side of things. So there are case competitions. There's money with the Sullivan Center as well. So if you have an idea that you want to bring to market, you want to go through one of the case competitions, things like that, that's usually where our students find additional funding. But there really isn't anything from the admissions application process after you apply. But Christina, do you know of any other?
Well, you know,
opportunities?
if you were to go to, I'm going to take you to, the financial aid and scholarships website. I'm just going to provide a link for you. If you have a lot of time on your hands and you're willing to pour through thousands of individual scholarships, there's money out there. However, these are individuals, maybe $1,000 here and there. And a lot of times they are related to a very specific cause, or they're looking for a very specific type of person to award the funds. Obviously, when people give money, they have an idea of who they want to receive those funds. They're out there, but it takes a fair amount of work on your part. But you know, they're available. If you walk through that site, you can go and look through grants and you know, individual private awards. There are websites out there designated just to list scholarships of, you know, from these different organizations. And I will tell you how extreme they go. There was actually a scholarship for duck callers. So if you're a hunter, there's a skill in terms of calling ducks, and you know, as part of the process, there's an award for someone that's what they do. And so it can be very, very specific. If you're willing to put in the time, it's out there, but it's not something that we do for you.